Hey, Sarah, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
All right, I gotcha. Thanks. The light turns green. Hey, Matt, are you online?
Okay. So
All right,
it is 7:07.
Sorry, Sarah is online, so if you're talking, use your mic, please.
We'll call the meeting to order. We'll do a quick roll call. Sign-in sheet. Hey, Gary, will you hand me that sign-in sheet next to you? Okay. Present, we have myself. We have Mr. Gary Solar. Amy Lindsay
Present.
is not signed in.
Sorry.
Lou Brittany,
Here.
Carrie is also here. Matt, are you online?
He says 1 minute, but that was 1 minute ago, so he should be joining soon.
Okay, so we're going to mark Matt Hamburger as online.
Maybe.
And then let's see, going down the rest of the line, Steve is here. We'll have him sign in.
Matt's on.
Okay. Lynn,
She's gonna try to join, but she got called into work.
okay. Brian Baxter.
He's on a coroner call.
Oh. Eric Roberts.
I have not heard from Eric.
Okay. And Miss Sarah.
Present, online.
Thank you. And then this evening, we've got Mr. Mike White joining us from IDHS. Okay, I emailed the minutes of the last meeting earlier today, and also Brittany printed them off, Amy printed them off. We've got them here for everybody. And for those that are online, they should be in your email. The first email that I sent today was the meeting agenda and the minutes from the last meeting. So is there any discussion on the minutes from the meeting in May?
Just a real quick, well, never mind. I'll add it to the new stuff on the new agenda.
Sarah or Matt, any discussion? Okay,
Looks good.
thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to accept the minutes from the meeting?
I'll second.
Okay, so that was Gary making the motion, Amy seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, minutes from the last meeting were approved. Okay, chairperson's report, I don't have anything that I need to bring up. We'll get right into the new business. Treasurer's report.
We are getting about $3,100 for our tier 2 funders or tier 2 reporters. So I'll get you the exact amount, but that will be added to the pot. So we'll take us up to about 33,000 and some change. And we do not have grant funds this year. We opted out, so no report on that.
Any questions or any discussion on the treasurer's report? Can I hear a motion to accept her report?
Second.
Okay, that was Steve making a motion, Gary seconding. All those in favor of accepting her report, say aye. Aye. None opposed. Treasurer's report will be accepted. I don't believe that there's any open issues from last month. Looking at the meeting agenda, I don't think there's any open issues.
I don't think so.
So we'll roll right into new business. We did reach out to IDHS to confirm, because that was one of the things that was on the last meeting's notes, was that we needed to confirm that we needed to do an exercise this year, and we do.
I can update on that if you'd like.
Yep.
Okay. So I spoke with Jackie Pooley, who is our program manager for the tier 2. And she gave me some input into, we talked about exercise types and scenarios. The thing that we came up with, it's sort of a 2-part. The first part is to work with dispatch to see what their protocols are for communications for a hazmat incident. Who do they call? When do they call them? What is the process for notifying like me, the fire departments, or anybody else that it might involve? And that kind of morphed into the idea of, hey, what if there was a hazmat spill affecting the schools? As you guys probably know, we have a new school superintendent. He seems very pro safety, particularly with the active aggressor stuff, but I seem to be having a good relationship with him. I'd like to engage the schools in our exercise and do a scenario of some sort of spill near the schools, particularly Mount Carmel, because I know it takes a little longer for our resources to get out there. So they would need to be on their own for, let's say, 15 or 20 minutes before help arrives. She was very supportive of that. She put me in touch with Grant County. They have done a similar exercise. They just did a full scale last year or maybe earlier this year, but they also did a tabletop on it a couple years ago. So I reached out to their EMA director and hopefully we'll get their tabletop exercise documents from him, just so we can get the ball rolling with the schools. There is a school safety meeting on September 5th, and I will be attending that. And I'm going to propose this to them and see if they are supportive of the idea. They have a school safety committee. There's a couple new members because a couple other members left and went to other schools, but I'd like to bring this up at that meeting and see if they would support that and if we can get a date on the calendar.
What was the date of the meeting?
September 5th. It was a Thursday, I think. So I thought maybe we could just do some sort of discussion-based exercise with them to see what would you do if there's a hazmat in your area? What would you do about evacuating or sheltering in place? And how would dispatch get a hold of them? And who does dispatch call? Perhaps dispatch knows the stuff. I don't. So I'd like to be clued in on that, or perhaps dispatch doesn't have a protocol for it and maybe we need to consider making one, or they need to consider making one, I guess. How's that sound, everybody?
So I think what she's proposing is a good thing, given the fact that, one, we do have new staffing at the school level, at the at the superintendent's office. There's also technically a new 911 director. So, so we've got some new players in the system. I think it'd be good to put their feet to the fire. And I think a tabletop is a good way for them to start. If you remember, we had the tabletop/functional as our last exercise. So the responders, I think, are good to go. I think it's a good time to test the initial response, the initial notification piece of it. So I agree. And if we can get that information from that other county who just had it, and we can model it, after that, we'd be really, it's just a name change on the documents.
Well, I had reached out to Jason Games, who did our last exercise, if you guys remember, up in Batesville, the cross-border exercise last September, and got just a ballpark figure what it would cost for him to coordinate the exercise for us and do all the documents. And it's going to be about $5,700. And we can take that out of our LEPC funds, the 30,000 and change. But I thought, Jesse and I have experience doing this. I think he and I together could, and with help from the Grant County LEPC, he and I could modify the documents and not need to pay somebody $5,700. So I'd like to propose that we do that. My hope is we can get the schools on board, and perhaps maybe we'll wait till after fall break and get the exercise late October to mid-November timeframe.
I make a motion, that's what we do. I make a motion, that's what we do.
Thanks, Steve.
So Steve has made a motion to do a tabletop exercise involving the schools, involving the 911. We'll talk a little bit more about the tabletop as we get the information from the other county. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay,
Thanks,
Gary
Gary.
will second it. Thank you. All those in favor of that type of exercise and going forward with that, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed or any discussion?
If you guys are all right with it, what I'll do once I hear back from Grant County is I'll start modify and I'll, probably after the meeting on the 5th, I'll start modifying those documents and we'll just communicate via email so that you guys are all in the loop. And we can probably just do another Zoom call before the exercise so everybody here is clued in and you know what's going on. We don't have to wait for the, what is it, November meeting?
And we definitely, everybody here will be invited to attend the exercise. We're all members of the committee, so, we definitely all would be invited to attend it. And it's definitely some, stuff that we can take back to our agencies. And invite the Chiefs Association if they want to come out. So it's not going to be, certainly the invitation is not going to be closed doors, to just the school system and just dispatch.
No.
So,
We have another Chiefs meeting sometime soon. We did the June one in July, right?
Yeah.
So then would be June, September?
Probably.
So we have another Chiefs meeting next month after the 5th. So
And
I'll
I,
bring that up to them and see if there's interest from them to participate.
I'll go on record and promise not to throw zombies into the tabletop.
Why not?
So-
It's fun.
I have a question. What time of day do you think that this is gonna be so we can plan?
I don't know. I'll have to talk to the schools. My guess is probably during the daytime. Steve drives the bus, so we'll have to be done before 2 o'clock so he can go get on his bus. Or 1:30. 1:30. So my guess is daytime sometime, maybe morning even.
Is it gonna be only a tabletop or is there gonna actually be a call
No,
Or-
just a
and call to 911?
No, just a tabletop right now. I don't want to put anybody on the spot yet. I just want to toss around ideas, shake hands, meet each other, and just start thinking about how can we set up either the right protocols or, how do we fix this problem should the day arise that we have to deal with it? It's really just kind of it's more of a workshop than a tabletop, I would say, but, we'll
And-
figure it out.
And Sarah, those are valid questions. And some of the things that we'll consider when we put together the exercise is, do we go with, so let's just call it the event. The event happens, the incident occurs. Do we focus more on what the schools are going to do and how they're going to notify it, how they're going to get notified? What do they do to notify the parents? So those are things that certainly would be available to them to practice. But then also, how does 911 notify the schools? I think that's a big part of what we want to exercise and what we want to make sure occurs.
We needed this jointly command center like that and everybody, just go through actually how it's going to happen between the first responders and police departments and the schools. Just like it, you can't do it separately, you have to do it together.
Right. So yeah, so when we look at the objectives for the exercise, and again, we're waiting on the documentation from this other county who's already gone through it. So there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. So we'll look at their documentation, we'll look at their objectives and what they test, and we'll modify it.
And Sarah, just so you're aware, I have not talked to John Hunley or the schools about this yet. So I would like to, I'm in training all this week up in Indy, but I'd like to be able to at least broach the topic to them first and say, hey, would you be interested in doing this? And if they say yes, then we move forward. If they say no, we come up with a plan B. And I don't know what plan B is yet. I started a discussion with Hunley last week, I think, about what are the protocols for dispatch to notify the various response agencies. He sent me some info on that. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But at the very least, he and I are going to talk about this so that I'm on the same page that he is and I know what to expect if an incident happens.
Yeah, I think either way, if the schools were to not be online, to doing this, we're still going to pursue a tabletop, something to do with notification and especially with a new director at the 911 center.
A discussion-based exercise, not necessarily tabletop.
Is this exercise going to hit anything on EOC?
I don't know yet. We have to
Because
figure that part
EOC,
out.
something like that, EOC should be involved.
Hey, microphone, we need a microphone. Sarah can't hear you.
When you put that stuff out over Nixle,
Uh, John should, I'm assuming that's part of his protocol, yes.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
But, you know, with Nixle, oftentimes you only get limited information, like avoid this intersection or this area. It doesn't tell you, okay, shelter in place, how to shelter in place, whether you need to evacuate, how to evacuate, what are the evacuation routes, stuff like that.
We have plans, like, you know, the school has like school days or snow days. They have a plan in place, and that's what I'm saying that they would do is they'd have a plan in place. But that has to be communicated.
Right, but have they tested an evacuation plan? Is it up to date? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to evacuate to? How are they going to get people there? Those kinds of things. Maybe they've thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they've thought about it. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they've tested it and maybe they haven't. I don't know. They have a reunification plan, but I don't know that they've actually tested that. So this might be a good lead up to, hey, do you want to test that down the road?
One thing I see that has to be hit on pretty heavily in this county is the fact that we have to have instant command centers. Because a lot of times, a lot of scenes I've been on, everybody's going their own way and not really setting up a command center.
That's where training comes in, Gary.
No,
So, initially, any hazmat scene, the fire department's gonna be the first one called because they're the ones that's been trained in hazmat and they have the authority to do that. So that you have to work from there on out. And then, but then the fire department has to establish, the first end has to establish that.
yeah,
So
but
that's-
what I'm
that's-
getting at, they
yeah.
have to be trained and know that they do that because they don't do it.
Well, that could be, but I mean, that's what's supposed to be done.
And
No.
maybe we build that
Some
into
departments
the
do a better job of it than others. I know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
What? Sorry.
So.
Can you do it by Mount Carmel School?
Brad and I have talked about doing a tactics class. So that's where you get that
Costume,
firefighters.
I've been
with
through-
Yeah,
costume,
I've been through those classes.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where it comes from.
Grant County did, and it sounded.
So I think if we, if we took an inventory of things that we could learn or we could improve that the fire departments and police departments in our county could improve upon, there's a list of them. There's a whole list, right? And definitely incident command centers, setting up command, doing a unified command. There's definitely opportunities to have these folks do a tabletop and learn from each other. The problem, or not the problem, the hurdle becomes getting them to the table, because we've offered these opportunities before. When we had that functional exercise in Batesville, the opportunity was out there for everyone, even if they weren't throwing on an air pack that day, like everyone else did, or stepping into a level A suit like I did that day. The opportunities are there. And we try to, Sarah has a good point, and what time is this going to be? Because the school is involved, it's probably going to be during the day. It probably needs to be in the morning, after they make sure all the kiddos are there, and we'll do it then. It can't take very long because they're not going to be able to get away from school for very long. We might even do it at the school. Who knows? The first things we got to do is check with them and make sure that, that they're good to go. So.
We'll take a look at what Grant County did and try not to get scope creep on it, but we can always build on this. This is the first exercise. We could build this into a full-scale exercise in a year or two. And start using incident command and build that into the scenario, but let's crawl before we run. I know it's needed. I do. Trust me. I feel like I bang my head against the wall all the time on ICS training.
One thing I see about it, and it happens everywhere, is that people don't want to train. And if you start getting deep into it, you got a fiasco. So you better get your first responders in line before you worry about
The
getting
IC
personnel.
The ICS training takes way more time than usually what we want to spend.
Mhm.
You know, to get it right, know the mechanics of it, how it works and why you do it, and practice that in scenarios. But, just to having Joe Blow come in here and give an hour on a ICS, that you can give them general information a little bit, but they really wouldn't figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah,
Some of the best training I've been to is down at Scatatuck,
yeah.
put on by the state. And that's where you really learn about how ICS training.
Okay, how long did that take?
We was there 2 days.
Okay, there you go.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
It's so
there you go.
hard. But I just actually was talking to the state training manager about the ICS training. Ohio offers it online. It is 3 full days, but it is online. I don't know anybody that can give up 3 full days. So we have to find a way to do ICS training in the evening over a series of weeks.
It would have to be
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Like I said, Brad and I have talked about it because we've been doing, all we've been doing is just firefighter 1 and 2s,
Yeah.
but we've been talking about, because then now you need to get some to the next step,
Mm-hmm.
on on officer training, basically just our officer training. Yeah. So,
One
We
thing
can pay
about,
for it.
one thing about, you can do all the bookwork and stuff on training and stuff at night until you actually perform an exercise where you're actually doing it.
Exactly. And it takes in classroom exercises plus, whatever else you can come up with.
Let's bring that up at the next Chiefs
Yeah, yeah,
Association meeting.
yeah.
It's getting into winter time. We can pay for it,
uh,
but how do we get them to class?
Well,
What's it gonna take?
I mean, if we can get it through a fire certification class.
That's the state level.
I know, but that's where Brad and I come in. So we can do that.
Mm.
So,
We'll figure that out.
yeah. So,
Are you certified instructors
yes.
for ICS 3 and 400?
Well, no, this would be Indiana certification, fire
It's
officer.
different.
certificate.
It's totally
So we're
different.
not, anything with this, we're not, no.
Yeah, but we can
But
get
we're certified
instructors
to-
for it.
For train to certified firefighters in.
Yeah.
We can, I know that like your young lieutenants and, captains coming up and stuff like that in all departments, not just
Mhm.
one, they all need ICS. And I'm sure if we tried really hard, we can find instructors who can come up and instruct on a Saturday,
Hmm.
3 Saturdays in a row,
Hmm.
or, just 3
Well,
Saturdays.
I know we're talking about kind of two different things,
Yep.
fire certification and the 3 or 400. What certification is that? EMA or
It's a FEMA,
the FEMA? Okay, so,
but it's
so-
a nationwide.
yeah, I know it is, but I'm just saying that it's not as easy to do. It's a lot more complicated than through there.
It's hard to get the personnel to actually
Mhm.
get into it.
Yeah,
We're getting in the weeds, but
yeah.
we'll look into that.
I'm just telling you what happens, and guys don't.
Yeah,
like
I
it.
know.
Yeah. This other way, you can get them.
Some of this,
They get ICS training, maybe not this, but it's still certified by the state of Indiana,
so I think some of this discussion will,
Far-
when
I know-
when we stop talking about the
Far-
tabletop, we'll put under open discussion. Okay. Yep.
ARPA money. That's federal grant money and we have to certify every year. I have to certify every year that our county is NIMS compliant.
Mhm.
It's a box I check. But the second we have an incident where somebody gets injured or killed and the lawsuits start filing, that's a different issue.
When I took the 3 and 4, okay.
Sorry.
You want me to say this out loud?
I don't know.
When I took the 3 and 400, I knew way more about ICS than the instructor did. So,
Could be. I know who your instructor was.
yeah,
I'm not
so.
surprised.
Okay, is there any other open discussion item? Mike, is there anything you want to bring up?
There's a couple training opportunities coming up. They'll be up in the Indianapolis area, but it's an opportunity for responders to go. September 10th, 11th, and 12th, PIMSA, which is, Pipeline and Hazardous Material Safety Administration, and TransCare, which is Transportation, Community, Awareness and Emergency Response. It's a different organization, are having a joint, event in Indianapolis. During this, we're gonna have it's gonna be a, class called ACERT, ammonia, safety and emergency response training. It's gonna be a couple hours classroom and plus a live, ammonia release. So we're gonna be doing that for 3 days. It'll be September 10th, 11th, and 12th. As soon as the, registration comes out, I will forward it to you and make sure you got it to pass out around the county if anybody's interested.
Problem's gonna be getting people to go during the day for 3 days.
Right. It is technician training. So, I mean, you'd have to be a technician to be able to suit up and go in and play with the live ammonia, but it's, you know, you could go in. The farmers don't count. They play with the stuff all the time. October 22nd and 23rd is the Indiana Hazmat Conference. That'll be at the, Maid at Plainfield. That's, operation and technician level. I believe it's a $40 or $50 registration fee. Again, there's a website with the registration available on it. So if you, Google that or, look on the state website. The Indiana Hazmat Conference.
Mike, that is also cross-posted on the Emergency Management Alliance website. I put it on there as an.
Okay,
I manage that website.
so you know about the Indiana Hazmat Conference, you probably
Yes.
sent it around. So. Again, small registration fee. You can use LEPC money to send anybody up there who wants to go. So LEPC money could use for lodging, mileage, and registration.
That's the week after the Emergency Management Conference. So just so you guys are aware, since we're here at the meeting, there is the Emergency Management Alliance of Indiana Conference, October 14th through 18th. We will not use LEPC money for that. So if you want to go to that, I think the registration fee is going to be like $350 or something. You have to pay for that yourself. I have no agenda or anything for that yet. It hasn't opened. Registration hasn't opened.
Matt or Sarah, do you guys have any open discussion items?
No, thank you.
Matt probably doesn't know how to unmute. He'll text me.
Anybody else at the table have an open item?
So I do. I know a while ago I approached you guys about signing up for Serve-IN for our volunteers and to be used in our drills that we use for the health department. I have more flyers. I know a lot of you have been volunteers forever, and that's unfortunately the old way. This is the new way. So if you guys can go to this website, sign in, become a volunteer, click on Franklin County Health Department. I'll get you in there. And then that's how you'll get the notifications when we do a pod training or when we do a flu clinic, like a drive-through pod or any training through the health department. This is how you'll get the notifications.
Okay. Do you want us to sign up? That is only for health stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But we can implement it for other, like other trainings if you
We
see fit.
We can use Serve-IN to track local volunteers to do local things like act as bodies for a hazmat exercise.
Maybe.
Will you look into that?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. If not, we'll find another database or something, make it up.
Okay, if there's no other open discussion items, our next meeting is going to be November the 12th. 7 PM, same bat channel, same bat place. Do I
Can I ask-
hear?
Can I ask
Oh,
one
yes.
more question before Vic goes?
Yes, ma'am.
The event that is being talked about, the tabletop discussion at maybe at Mount Carmel School. What's the time? I know we don't know the time yet. Do we have an idea of like how long it would be?
I don't, I mean, it's going to depend on the scope of the exercise, what we want to talk about, what we want to test, if there are any plans in place. I mean, usually discussion-based exercises are less than 3 hours. I don't know what kinds of plans and policies dispatch or the school have in place right now. So it's hard to say right now, and I don't know what kinds of objectives we want to test with this. So I would say a fair answer would be, 3 hours or less. Sorry, I know that's not the greatest answer. I'm looking at the wrong camera. I don't know where you are. Are you in the back?
That's good. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other open discussion items? Anything? Going once, going twice. Okay, so again, the next meeting will be November the 12th. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Wait, hold on.
Oh, wait,
There's a holiday around that time. Did we move the meeting so that it doesn't conflict?
November the 11th is Veterans Day,
Okay, cool. All right, we're good.
which everybody would be off. Most everybody would be off that day before. So-
Okay, so sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt the
Nope, it's okay.
end of the meeting.
All right. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Amy makes a motion. Second,
I'll second.
Brittany will second. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Uh,
7:33. Thank you.
Getting good at these. Bye, Sarah. Matt. Bye, Matt. Thank you.
Bye.